made a
What?
note. I've put in everybody's journals. There's a Tale of the Banshee note. It's got the information in.
Where's that?
I've helped you as much as I can, Joe.
Actually reading it.
Water.
What?
Banshee.
Oh, there
Okay.
it is. Yeah, sorry. It's right.
Who left?
Yeah.
Who left her in charge of spells?
So I presume are you going to walk across? Just introduce yourselves as per before, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
greet her
do
as
we
she outside.
interrupt prayer? What's the etiquette? We just leave her to do her prayer stuff first, don't we?
As
tell me.
Well,
Why
I
are
want
we
to have an
leaving?
idea whether it's normal
Roll
etiquette
initiative.
to leave someone to finish their prayers or not. If she's got no idea, she'll interrupt.
Well, approach. We're not exactly invisible.
as we're walking, I'm
If she stops and talks,
Kind
she
of
stops
do
and
that
talks,
thing
if
like
not,
when
we'll
you're
wait.
trying to intimidate somebody out their seat.
Why-
You stand dead close
Why are we
and
leaving?
stare at them.
I don't do that.
Why are we leaving?
Oh,
I
okay.
insulted the town master.
Sister Gorile kind of sort of senses you as you head closer towards her, and breaks off a kind of moment of reverie with the altar. Turns, takes a few moments for her eyes to focus on you. She gives you a pleasant smile. You've returned so quickly. I thought it would be
And we're
several
leaving
days
just as
more. I'm surprised. Do you have good news?
We have news.
Perhaps we should sit and take water. She notices you're carrying all your chest and bits and pieces.
Yeah. That would be
Come,
good.
we'll sit and share water. She smiles.
as we follow her on. I'll just say, Shepherd, shame I missed it.
Yeah.
She turns.
like
She
bullies.
she kind of half looks back, like a little curious about the conversation we're having.
Bullies?
Well, what bullies are these?
Oh, don't let our travails worry you, sister. Master Wester didn't take too kindly to some of my words, and now we are leaving. And it seems he spun quite a tale about our actual input in removing the red brands, and it was all going to happen anyway. And he's got this militia on the way, and basically they're just swapping one despot for another, if he even has a militia.
What?
He says quietly, "I'm not convinced there's a militia on its way at all."
No, and I'm gonna go and find evidence of that, if you would excuse me. I'm just gonna leave.
I'll follow Shepherd.
No, don't follow me, because you can't go invisible, I'll say.
She'll be
You
like,
really can't.
okay,
You might accidentally. No.
please, come into. She's got a little nice, very tidy garden outside her little place, and she'll head across and bring a candle or two out. She places the candles in her little garden. Has a jug of cool water and puts some cups down for you to share water with her and have a drink.
Drinks water.
What news? What news from Agatha? Did you find her?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
She accepted the
Excellent.
gift of the hairbrush. It was a good choice.
Knew it. I knew it. And you asked her of Bo Gentle's book.
We did.
She kind of looks like, and
I look expectantly at Ronia.
Yeah, so will I.
everybody
Just
turns
go-
their attention to
Yeah.
Brawner.
So from what she said, the book was traded and ended up in the hands of a necromancer called Sir Noth of Iriabor. I've heard of him, and his lineage apparently was relatively powerful. You've maybe heard of them, but this was over 100 years ago, and since then, nobody knows where it went. So it's kind of part of story, really. It's not massively helpful. We can follow up, but there's
No. That gives us enough to start our inquiries. The fact that Sir Noth has a reputation amongst those of arcane ways means that it is likely to be of some repute within Iriabor. So perhaps we can track either his possessions, his last known whereabouts. The Harpers appreciate this information greatly. You've done well. And I presume you know she looks you all over, and you had no trouble with her.
Well, nearly.
Really?
Nearly some trouble.
Okay.
She only answered one question.
She nods. Good. This was a question that you needed answered. This is excellent.
This was a question you needed answered.
Yes. That was why you went, wasn't it?
We were hoping to get something answered for ourselves as well.
Oh, this is your Cragmore Castle, was it?
Yeah,
The
yes.
location of Cragmore Castle still remains a mystery. But we have other options to explore.
Like I say, there's definitely folk that can help, I'm sure. Either to the north, a little to the northwest. Radoth the Druid might be able to help. He ranges all across the lands of these regions. He might know. Or one of the Orc tribes. Some of them may know. There's places you could travel.
We still have options.
Indeed. And I'll offer you any help that can be given.
Well, tonight we could do with a place to sleep, to be honest. Can you help with that?
She looks at her one-room hovel and goes,
We go to the farm. Don't worry. The barn at the farm.
my friend Darren, Adamarth, he has an orchard on the northwestern edge of town. I know that his barn is well kept, and it's a warm place to stay. Travellers that can't afford the inn often stay there, and he's a good man.
That sounds perfect.
Just go back to the Halfling farm.
Of course. Alderleaf Farm is always a welcome place to stay if you know Colleen and are on her good side, she says with a smirk.
We do, and we are.
Excellent. Well, please if there's anything I can do, please let me know. But the Harpers greatly appreciate your help in this matter.
That's terrific. That's
If
terrific.
Shepherd returns, can you point him our way?
Indeed, of course I will.
And, maybe one day we can come to you for help or assistance.
Indeed. In fact, she'll kind of nod, and she's one moment. She heads inside, and when she comes back out, she has a little token, a little silver. Looks like a silver penny, but actually it's got a printed mark upon it. You recognise that as the symbol of the Harpers. And she'll extend it in a hand for someone to take.
I'll take it.
If you meet another that bears this mark, you can ask them for help and use my name, and they will give you some help. They won't
That's
trade
great.
their lives for you, but they might give you information or shelter or tell you, or hide you perhaps, offer
That
healing, something of
could
that.
be useful. Yeah.
I'm afraid that's the best I can do.
No, that's great.
We thank you for your
Perfect.
generosity.
My thanks to you. And with that, she'll let you guys head off down to the farm.
We're going to Carp's place or to Darren's farm.
Your call,
Alderleaf.
presumably.
Well, I'm just going to start walking to Alderleaf.
Okay, right. You guys start to march off towards Alderleaf, and I will swap to Shepherd. Shepherd, what you do, mate? Where you going?
I'm going for a sneaky mooch around Wester's house.
Okay, yeah, the Townmaster's Hall, no problem.
I'm going back to my old urchin roots.
Right.
I just don't believe him, and I might find nothing, but I'm going looking for evidence of his bullshit.
Okay, no worries. Like I say, you can head in. Are you going to use invisibility to go in?
Oh yeah, I don't want anybody seeing me approach the place.
Okay, no worries. So first off, you notice that there is a couple of his stewards are kind of dressed with a leather jerk, kind of leather jerkin, almost as if they're guards, but they're not built like guards and clearly aren't guards by the sort of stand of them. They've been given what looks like kind of very basic spears, and they're stood flanking the insides of the doorway into the Townmaster's Hall as if they've been promoted to guard duty. But inside you can see a kind of large and pretty well adorned building. Phandalin doesn't have a functioning government, but it does have this kind of elected mayor, if you like, and one would argue he serves as a judge in some cases. And you can see at the very far end of the main hall are 2 cells, which is where, if you remember, some of the red brand that you caught are still there, sat in the cells. There's a pretty ornate table off to one side with some reed screens marking it out, and you can see Wester sat at the table with a quill and parchment. He's writing.
Well, I'm going to fucking stand right behind him, invisible, and have a fucking butchers at what he's writing.
You have a look. So he's writing, or you can see the progress he's made. So interesting enough, he, by the look of it, is part of the Lord's Alliance, which is some kind of organisation that must be part of something around the Sword Coast. And it sounds vaguely familiar to you, but you're not entirely familiar with it. And he's writing a letter of thanks for receiving his letter, his previous missive. It doesn't say too much more than that at the moment.
It's the fucking previous missive that I want to get my fucking filthy little fingers on.
It's got a big stack of papers next to him. It all looks very official. There's a stamp on the table as well. Ooh. Ink, quills, multiple.
More efficient than that.
Doesn't really. Like I say, there is a sort of another steward stood to one side. But
this is the Townmaster's Hall. It's not his house, though, is it? His house is nearby.
Correct.
All right. So now he's here. I'm going for a butcher's round his gaff.
No worries. You can, if you can. I mean, who are you going to ask to see where his home is? I
am pretty much going to be basing this that he's probably got the biggest house, and it's probably close to the Townmaster's Hall because it's all a bit of a status. So.
Okay. Yeah, you can.
Is there one house that is distinctively more distinctive than the others? In the vicinity of the Townmaster's Hall.
I was just going to say, not too far away.
I doubt it'd be very far away.
Hall is a sort of fairly well-to-do stone-made building, and it's just as you're heading by, you notice that the door knocker has the official mayor's seal upon it. So it's
there we go.
Like
That's what I was looking for.
Ornate.
I would have been looking through windows to see which was the most plush.
There are lights on. Yep.
All right. Okay. Scouty to make sure I'm not going to be doing an ingress into a room with somebody in.
Okay. You have a look through. You have a little look in through the windows. You can see a middle-aged human lady. With a small child, and they're just sat talking in the what looks like a fairly basic living room.
Fairly basic living room.
It's not terribly ostentatious, but you'd be very surprised to see anything. Even his hall isn't massively ostentatious. There's no. You know what I mean? Bringing stuff like that here would be quite difficult and expensive. So this is, you have to balance it against, what you've seen in your travels. This is nothing compared to what you've seen, but.
I don't want to go terrorizing an innocent woman and a child. Not the
Look at the
twat.
half orc.
Yeah, I've got Grundak for that.
Okay, you'll probably see the others as you're having a little scout round. Immediately south of this location is the road to Alderley Farm, so you'll kind of see the rest of the gang sort of marching stoically along, heading towards Kelleen's farm.
Could be this dark.
Oh,
Yeah.
as they walk past, I'll just march in step with them and appear.
Poof. Ah!
Right?
Ah. Well,
That's
did you
right.
get it?
No. But he was in the midst of writing a thank you letter to the Lord's Alliance, someone from the Lord's Alliance, thanking them for his previous missive.
Who's
Really need to find that previous missive.
Who are the Lord's Alliance?
Bunch of toffs, by the sounds of it.
Something like that.
And no reference to what he was thanking them for.
Well, if memory serves,
You have come across the Lord's Alliance.
Glassstaff, or Iarno as his name was
He was a member of that.
He was the guy that was meant to be coming here to set up a constabulary. That's what he said to us, wasn't it? And he got waylaid by the Red Brands, etc.
Yep.
Check you out, flaunting your memory.
Yeah.
Grace Allen's
Who was that
working.
fella that we rescued from the Goblin Caves and escorted here as well?
Sildar
Didn't he have
Hall.
some kind of connection to?
He announced that he was a member of the Lord's Alliance.
Yeah.
So, if the militia that he was already on about was this Glassstaff guy who was coming to set up the constabulary, the militia then must have been the Red Brand, because he did a deal with the Red Brand, didn't he? He must have.
I don't think so.
Oh, of course, because he wasn't a captive of them. He sold us that story to give us him a chance to cast his spell on Grundak so we could cheese it.
Well, if you wanted to control a town, wouldn't you kill the head person? That would be the first thing I would do.
Not when he's weak and easily fucking controllable. Is that fucking useless sack of shit?
I'd still kill them as a show of power. So I agree. I think that probably the only reason he was still in there is because he made an agreement with them of some kind. Or he was the one who drafted them in.
I'm confused.
I'm not
Do you say
saying
that the
things-
Town Master is a mimic?
What do you mean by mimic?
An imposter?
No, I think,
Impersonating the Town Master?
No, I just think he's a
creature summoned by the Glassstaff?
no, I think maybe he's just
No.
a traitor to his kind.
I think this Wester sent off for a militia and he said he knew they were coming, right? But this Glassstaff fella was a member of the Lord's Alliance who came here to set up a constabulary. I think that part of it was true. Yeah, that bit of the story. So the best lies always have the element of truth in them because they're easier to hold. So he sold us that story because he could do it convincingly, but secretly he came here to set up this constabulary and this militia, but instead cut his own deal with the Red Brands, and for whatever reason. Yeah, so the militia turned out to be a bunch of twats that took over the town anyway.
I have a question.
Uh-oh.
Where did the bat come from that was held by the leader of the Red Brand? That was the thing that forged them into what they were. Not their presence here, or Glassstaff, or this idiot that runs the town. Whoever brought that here, because I don't think it was here at the start, created all this.
I think that guy was still like the head of the the Red Brands. He just assimilated a few more thugs into his numbers to swell the numbers.
Or maybe he started out as a regular militia captain. and was corrupted. That
Still
thing
dark,
was
there's no reason to suspect that this glass
vile.
has anybody to worry about.
It's true.
Yeah, but what about this spider fella?
Hmm.
Yeah, you know, the one that's got a wanted poster out on Newbroner. What about the spider fella?
A peal of thunder that ranges across the skies.
Is nobody else concerned that it is dark?
Yes.
I am.
Seems good to me.
And unseasonably cold.
Flash of lightning lights the sky.
Bunch of pussies.
I enjoy the lightning, but it should not be dark.
Okay, so should it actually not be dark yet, Phil? It shouldn't be dark.
Should be kind of early evening. Unless it was a particularly heavy storm, it wouldn't be that dark. But it's much darker today.
I'll go and stand out on the porch, watch the storm.
Okay.
We're not inside anyway yet.
Oh, yeah, I thought we were at Alderley Farm.
No, we're on our way.
Kind
I
of.
was gonna say you
Talking as the
walked
wall
up.
at the moment.
Sure enough, you can see a light on inside inside the Alderley farm. Hear the sound of laughter from inside.
Does darkness tell, is it the gloom of an approaching storm, or is it like the sun's gone down dark?
Both.
That's not right.
What kind of magic could cause that, Phil?
Magic that affects the
Magic,
weather.
magic.
Magic that affects the weather at this level across such a huge area would be colossal. Would be the stuff of great rituals and terrible power.
Well, if this
Not
is
something
magically
to be
induced,
ignored.
we're in a lot of trouble. A lot.
But you can continue to hear the sound of laughter as you get a bit closer, and you'll see the back doors open. And Colleen stood outside looking over the farm land, but looking up at the sky, getting a sense for the weather.
Oh,
It's terrible.
Colleen.
She'll she'll look a little surprised. Oh, there, travellers. You back so soon? You brought the weather with you. Crikey.
I don't like
Yeah,
the weather. This is wrong.
She'll look at the stuff you're carrying. Say, you moving in? She says, slightly worried for a second.
You just could do with a place to stay. We're no longer welcome in town. Can you?
She'll look surprised. The heroes of Phandelver are unwelcome. What nonsense is this?
Well, your mayor has taken a dislike to us,
Me mostly.
and has us. It's all the same.
Well, you can absolutely stay if you need to.
That would be great.
Please
Great.
head on in. Unfortunately, we've finished the food for today, but I can cook you something if you need. If you're
We're
hungry.
fine.
We ate, thank you.
We ate before we were evicted.
A good idea. Please head on in.
I'll stay outside for now. Something about this weather troubles me.
She nods. Me too. Shouldn't be like this time of year. Bizarre. Anyway, some of us have an early start. Where is it? Are you going to stay here for a few days, or?
I think just overnight, and then we're on our way, aren't we?
I
Okay.
think so. We'll discuss in the morning.
As you like. Help yourself to the rooms you had before. Me, the boy, and Grace will stay in the main room.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Head in.
Thank you.
That she'll kind of usher you in. You know, like almost as if she's your parent, as per before. Usher you inside.
Basically, Phil, I'll take first watch. I'm not comfortable with what's going on outside.
No worries. You take first watch. After, are you doing like what, 2 or 3 hour stint each?
3 or 4. I'm pretty well rested, and it's
Okay.
I'll
no
take
need
the
to get
dead.
an early night.
I will say now I will take the dead of night till early morning, so I'll take the last watch.
Okay.
I'm happy to sleep through. So
We know, brother.
You hero.
I'm happy to sleep through it.
Yeah.
Like,
What a hero. What a hero.
As long as we've got a long rest in all that.
magic users need their sleep.
I'll
If
take
I'm going to eat
If
some
we
souls
ever find
tomorrow,
out
I
that's
need
not
to be well
true.
rested.
Yeah, you're going to be in trouble. So yeah, like I say, you head in. Amar, you're on first watch. Nothing. You don't get anything. You definitely spend some time looking outside as the house quietens. There's a definite sense of something malevolent out there in the dark. You can't fix on it, but even the storm seems subdued somewhat, if that makes sense. The lightning and thunder that you heard earlier on, and certainly the lightning that streaked across the sky, seems to have been reined back. Someone's turned the volume down on it. But you serve your watch without incident. Who's up next?
Hang on a second.
Is it Lumi?
Okay. Lumi?
I'll hand over to Lumi.
Come back next.
This storm.
Okay, Lumi, can you give me a perception check, please?
Oh, Louie.
Oh yeah, perception check.
Lumi, perception check.
Don't be shit.
There is actually one thing I was going to do before
Cheers. You were actually going to make a perception check.
Yes.
That was correct.
I'll-
Well done. Hooray.
I'll do that first. Perception.
Glasses on.
What is this by magic? Perception.
Yeah, I can like click on it.
You're clicking the wrong one. There's a skill
Skill.
to the right of where you're clicking.
Have you clicked on your icon first? All
You're
those good
clicking on the
things.
passive wisdom modifier thing, but the actual skill perception.
Yeah,
You
no, I've got
know
it.
where this is, so you should know.
Got it now. Go, gadget.
Oh, burn.
21? Is that a
That's
Oh.
a natural 20.
natural 20? Lucky bastard. Okay. I'm not quite sure what the second one was, but we'll ignore that one. Yeah, you're kind of you get that same feeling, right? That there's something not quite right out there, and you actually pop the door open. And as you step outside,
As I step outside, I'm not sure how it works. Divine sense.
Divine sense.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. You activate divine sense. You get an immediate ping from a little way off to your left.
Drum sword.
As you unsheathe the sword, you can see a little bit more easily from here, and with a roll like that, you can see there is a marking upon the floor. So in the middle of a field, it looks like an area, instead of it being furrowed, is now flat, and there is a subtle lilac glow around the edge of it.
I think with divine sense, I can tell if there's a creature there. I can tell what it is. I can't remember how it works. I'm exact.
There is a servant of Shah, the mistress of night.
Yeah, see, we picked a
That sounds
side. We picked a side.
Yeah, I need probably. So
The presence
Need
of
lights.
strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. You know the type, celestial, fiend, or undead, of any being whose presence you sense but not its identity. Within the same radius, you can also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, such as with a hallow spell. You can use this feature a number of times equal to 1+ your charisma modifier.
There is a fiend 40 feet to your left.
I'll step out, and in a sort of quite a deep voice, I shall shout, "Step forward, fiend! Face me!"
You'll see the darkness kind of coalesce into a physical form. There's a kind of slight sheen to it. That's the only thing you can pick out as it turns to walk towards you. It's fucking massive. Easily taller than you. Probably the size of a Goliath. maybe kind of touching on the 7 foot tall, 3.5 foot at the shoulder, and it's marching towards you.
Has that shout woken anybody else up?
You can all make me a perception check.
Anchor?
It pulls it kind of with an air of kind of disdain almost, that feels like it kind of yanks a sword that's more just like a brutal edge from its scabbard at its waist.
Nope, he hasn't woken anybody else up.
No, snort.
Sorry, Matt, you're on your own.
You're on your own.
It's
Hang on.
me.
Yeah. No, hang on. I'm trying to work out which one it is. Which one's I can't remember which is the one that does an extra D6 damage. Hunter's Mark or Bane.
The one Med casts on you, but he's just
Hunter's Mark's the one.
Running. Wake up! Wake up!
Hunter's Mark.
Hold on. Luckily for you, there is a small boy that runs into your room, and he's got a sword, a wooden sword, and a shield in hand, and he kind of rubbing sleep from his eyes. And Carp stands there at the doorway, goes, "Quick! There's a monster outside! He's fighting the paladin! Come and look!" And with that, he kind
As
of
he says
turns
paladin,
and
I'm
races
gone.
out. He turns and
Yeah.
races out.
I'll be hot on his heels.
Did Carp just go a little bit Geordie then? He's fighting the paladin!
Away, man!
He's
It's
fighting
kicking
the
off outside!
And he's not even wearing a coat.
And Lumi, you get the impression this kind of terrible creature is bearing down upon you, and Carp steps up next to you,
Oh, bless.
sword and shield.
If he dies,
kind of
that's
falls in
terrible.
line to one side of you and pulls his sword up in a fighting stance, as if shall pass.
Uh-oh.
Start to pile through the.
Yeah. I think we're...
Can you all roll initiative, please?
Ah, bollocks, man.
Don't forget to right click on your characters.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I did forget. Okay.
8.
Yay.
Whoop.
No, roll
Did that work? Have I done it right?
8
Depends
from
what
me.
you're aiming for.
Oh, 5? You having a laugh?
No, but we will in a minute.
Okay, there we go. So, surprise, surprise, surprise. Shepherd, top of the round. It'd probably take you a turn to gather your things and head out. So, I presume you get your bits and pieces together. We'll actually spin through the night. So, as you guys put a set of watches on as normal, the evening goes fairly quiet, to be quite honest. None of you hear the animal sounds. I think we've lost that. Hello.
The animal sounds as the dog takes him.
Okay. The dog just ate the camera, and you're on mute again.
Yeah, bless him.
No sound.
I didn't want to give you motion sickness as I move my camera,
No worries.
so you're not distracted by the dogs down at the window.
Fair enough. So yeah, evening passes. It's a fairly quiet, if a little chilly evening. When you guys wake up fresh as dawn rises, you're ready for another fun day's travel. It's rather cold today, considering it's spring. Clouds in the sky. Not raining, but fairly miserable weather.
What's the weather look like it's going to be? I mean, I'm sure I'd have some sense of it from.
It doesn't smell like it's going to rain, but it's got a kind of sort of slight.
Thunderstorm.
It's kind of maybe there's a storm coming. So,
Yes!
This is me
The
rolling my
miraculous
eyes at you.
storm comes!
As it happens, you'll wait. I'm praying.
yeah.
So as first light comes, I'm praying. So you'll kind of wake up, storm rolling in.
Yeah, interestingly enough, as Lumi's sat there praying, kind of hand on the pommel of the hilt of his sword, you see little arcs of lightning trickle off him every now and again and kind of earth themselves on the ground. might look a little strange to some of you, but
Well, I'll look at him, grunt in sort of, I don't know, faint approval, then fart and walk off.
okay, fantastic. Looks like you're ready to break down.
Won't break the concept.
We all bless the door in our own way.
You gather your bits and pieces up. The drow seems particularly quiet this morning. She goes to kind of pull her cowl up and over her head, and actually realizes it's not too dark, and leaves it a little further back so she can see what's going on. And you guys, I presume, are starting to head southwest along to Phandelver.
Before we get going, I will say something troubles me. I don't think we can go back to Phandelver yet.
What do you mean?
There are undead roaming these hills or in this area.
We were warned.
Right?
You were?
We cannot allow that to continue. The undead must be quashed wherever we find them.
That's just a peachy and noble
The
sentiment.
necromancer stays really quiet, folds her arms, waits to see what happens.
Is this something new from you, Louis?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's probably this might be the first time we've encountered undead.
It is.
Grundak won't comment. I'll just look between the rest of you.
So you can either, like I say, you're on the Tribal Trail. You've got another day's worth of travel to get you back to Phandelver. You can hand in your quest to Sister Garail. If you think that, well, there's very little fat.
She'll have a little golden question mark overhead.
In many ways, going back there triggers the opportunity to go somewhere else that we'd already kind of discussed. So there were a couple of different options for different places. But like I say, what you do have behind you is Old Owl Well and the ruins of Conneberry. So you know that there are undead sighted over that way and were warned to stay clear. And obviously you've been warned about the orcs to the southeast as well. And you've, from what you discern through your scouting, you've seen some of the orc. I think I remember describing to you the orc scouts covered in mud, sort of hiding away. So, in fairness, going back towards Conneberry and Old Owl Well could be very dangerous, and would see you not complete your quest for Sister Garail. But the choice is yours. Clearly,
My brother plans to stand against the undead. I'll stand beside him.
Look to Shepherd. Who
He looks excited about the possibility of going back to quench the undead problems of Old Owl Well.
We were just pretty much herded away by orcish hunters down the path, and we gave it legs, and now, just now, you want to change your mind and retrace all the steps where those orcish hunters are likely to be, opening us up to potential ambush and injuring or even killing some of us on the way to deal with an unknown number of unknown undead types. I am unsure that is a good idea. Quite frankly, I think you're as nutty as a squirrel shit for thinking that.
I think they present a real danger, and one that we shouldn't leave at least uninvestigated.
The orcs are a real danger. The orcs are a real danger. So we have to investigate them. We can't investigate everything that's a threat in this goddamn world because, quite frankly, life is struggle.
There is a significant difference between the undead and the orcs.
But they could fight each other.
It's true. But we won't know unless we go and investigate.
Or we don't really have to worry about it.
I think it presents a real danger to innocence.
I would have thought now that we have some kind of bearing to follow regarding Lightbringer and this great symbol that has pushed you along your quest, that now endangering that by just going and investing in some shambling undead seems like unnecessary risk to the greater mission.
I do have a greater mission, but at my heart, I'm a paladin, and part of my oath is to defend the weak against those who would wish them harm. You should know that. It has sat heavy on my heart to take this journey. It has sat heavy on my heart to ignore the imminent dangers, and now I think we should go back and investigate. I can't leave it any longer.
But the only other people out here we've seen is a banshee and some orcs. I get you. I get you have some religious and sworn sacred oath that you have to fulfill. But I need some convincing. Because, quite frankly, I'm used to surviving.
I'm so torn right now.
One
On the left, I've
learns
got my
to
brother,
be...
and on the right, I've got a bard with a charisma of 18. And I've got an easily led floor. I'm just like, he's right.
To be fair, I am fairly charismatic as well.
I think
in my own unique way. Not quite as charismatic as the bard. I wouldn't have thought, but
he's probably got like silver tongues of feet or something.
Silver tongues on his feet.
Probably.
If you know draconian body language at all, I am so torn right now.
I'm just
I'm literally agreeing with them both. Don't know which
The other thing is, if we're going down the line of like oaths that have been taken, will we sworn an oath to carry out this quest for Sister Gorail? So now that we are closer to her than retracing our steps and walking back into the jaws of danger, should we not at least complete our charge first? Otherwise, you're just sacrificing one oath for another.
We didn't agree to do it in a certain timescale. I don't think it would take us long to investigate and bring back potential news.
I'll coax the fire into life while they're chatting.
This seems like a gross, unnecessary.
Why do undead gather at this well? Are we slaying a symptom but not the cause?
I'll put my hand on Shepard's shoulder and say, "You know this is
you will
the
actually
right thing."
feel me tense.
Yeah.
Balls in my feet, ready to bolt.
Like down there. Really, really slowly, very tender. I'll say, "You know this is the right thing to do."
Right thing to do would have been to investigate it when we were fucking a day and a half further down the path when we were near it. Now we're closest to Sister Gorail, and we should complete that charge and then talk about this further in a more comfortable setting where there is beer and pie.
He has a fair point.
By the sounds of it, we've been warned away from it, and there's been stories on the road. There's been stories on the road, and people warned us away from it, so it means they've been there for a while, which means they ain't going anywhere, and we've got the answer to Sister Gorail's request that we got from Agatha. So, if necessary, we can then go back when we're a bit more refreshed, we're a bit more aware of the dangers that are on the road facing us when we go back down there, and we'll be a hell of a lot better prepared, rather than just going, oh, hang on, let's just do a 180, head back down that path while I take care of them undead.
Yeah, that would. I was just going to say, Matt, from your perspective in terms of your oaths, you certainly feel like as long as it gets done, that's the important thing. If you guys were to go back to town and then forget about it and go do something else, it would bother you. But actually, what Shepard says makes real sense. You're
Beer and pie.
You're not that far from town. Resupply, because potentially, and you know this as well as anybody, if you're going to undertake a fight in that region, you're almost certainly going to encounter the orcs. So you may as well you know, provision yourself adequately for that undertaking, but you wouldn't want it to drop off the radar.
Yeah. So I take your counsel, Shepherd, and although I think we should return and make sure that we take care of this, we could do it in the future. And as you say, the pressing need is to discharge our immediate responsibilities.
And we can have a much more comfortable discussion in much more comfortable surroundings about how to deal with this sacred need that you have to wipe out the undead and get Brawner's take on it.
Brawner stays remarkably quiet and says, "Oh, well, we could probably talk about it when we're back at the inn, I guess." And she clicks her finger and the fire goes out. And the heat seems to suck out of it into her hand. "Right, off we toddle then," she says, and starts to walk.
I shall give her a reproachful look.
You give the back of her head a reproachful look as she wanders down, starts to wander down.
Holding my axe. Just one lop of the head.
You can start heading back to Phandelver. Like I say, you can make reasonably good time if you press. If you press on and take a few breaks, then you might be able to get there before dark. So
I think we should do that.
If you march on, you'll be tired by the time you get back. But like I say, a forced march through the day won't hurt anybody other than Brawner, really. So
perfect. Yes, let's set the pace.
Let's rock on.
Yeah, let's set the pace. Keep up, bitch.
No worries. So yeah, you press along. There's, like I say, the day seems to get progressively worse in terms of the weather.
How unseasonal is this?
It should be a pleasant spring day, but it looks stormy and miserable, and actually somewhat darker than it perhaps should be.
Where are the winds coming from?
The winds are coming from the northeast, from the mountains of the far northeast.
And so unseasonal winds as well then?
Yep. Certainly the weather seems to be a little awry today. But you pass along the trail without real problem. And like I say, as long as you don't take too many breaks, by the time it gets to late afternoon, early evening, as the sun bizarrely seems to be setting somewhat earlier than perhaps you might expect it to normally, you'll see the lights of Phandelver in the distance. Okay.
Which means setting earlier.
Yeah, it seems to be. It almost seems to be a little darker. Almost like instead of it being a spring day where you'd expect it to be gradually getting lighter, if anything, it feels a little more like an autumn day.
So would you say that's just because of the gathering clouds?
No. Like I say, you can see the lights of Phandelver in the distance. Pick up your pace, and before long, you're walking through familiar territory. You pass the boundary town, and you can smell the faint odor of good cooking and the general sound of people enjoying themselves over a beer and a pie. I presume you're heading for your usual refuge at the Stonehill Inn. Fantastic. Yep. So you head back. Sure enough, you've got the innkeeper stood there. When he sees you guys step in, albeit somewhat wearily, he'll raise a hand to you. Well met. Some ale and food for you, travellers.
Aye.
Sit by the fire. Put your feet up. He says with a big grin. And you'll see that kind of, as before, you get that kind of positive swell from the patrons of the pub as you come in. There's something of a legend building behind you guys.
I will take my slice of pie and my beer, and I will go and stand outside, and whilst I'm eating said pie, just keep an eye on the general weather pattern and such like, and just bothering me.
Sure, by the time you've got your beer and a pie, a sort of earthenware plate with a big hefty slice of pie on, and you've walked outside, it's dark.
Hmm.
The sun has set already.
Beer and pie.
But you do have beer and
Finger guns, baby.
Is it fine brown ale?
and fine brown ale. Yeah, absolutely. It's always fine brown ale when the heroes are in town. Across the way, you can see lights within Sister Gorile's little hovel by the Shrine of Luck. So you can pop across to see her, or you can sit and eat your beer and pie, whichever you prefer.
In fairness, we've been on the road. It's not another half hour won't kill her. We're in safe environs now. It's pie and beerage.
Said that last time, and by the time we got to her, she'd been stabbed.
Mainly pie, though.
Yep, you guys enjoy your pie and your beers. Like I say, from your perspective, Grandak, it's definitely odd. The day-night cycle seems to be changing.
Off.
Indeed. And the weather seems a little more miserable. So like I say, there's a chill in the air that one would expect of a more autumnal or winter season than the fresh spring gradually warming as you'd expect. You'll see the Harbin Wester, the townmaster, kind of pull. He comes out of the kind of slightly more important looking building, for, the kind of townmaster's hall, and he'll pull his cloak. You notice actually that he's got a new cloak with a fur trim to it now, and he'll walk briskly across towards you guys. Welcome, Joe.
I'll just
Surprised, and turns to one of the other folk, giving him a withering stare, and one of the other patrons, a farmer, says, actually, this is Townmaster Wester, Harbin Wester. He runs our town.
Wester, the one who had a town taken from him and did nothing about the outlaws. That Harbin Wester.
It goes a little quiet in the room.
dink.
Mm-hmm.
Town taken from me. He says, letting go of your shoulder and moving to the side so he can look at you properly. Care to elaborate? Trainee bard? Perhaps you could explain your words?
I don't think we really need an explanation, Master Wester. While everything was going on, you were in here drinking imperiously and still acting like you own the place when quite clearly you had lost it and done nothing. And here you are, patting me on the shoulder, like we've known each other for years and you're some great benefactor of myself.
His eyes narrow. You should be careful, young boy, of whom you make an enemy.
I'll put my knife and fork down at that point and look at him.
The Red Brand said something similar, yet they're all dead and gone.
This in the tavern or outside the tavern?
This is
No, this is in the
That's-
tavern.
That's in.
What's everyone else doing?
I'm outside.
Watching him like, oh, shit.
He is like everything Shepard hates from his childhood and his youth. He's an entitled fucking tosspot.
He walks across.
He's a coward, as far as
he
I'm
walks.
concerned.
With that, he'll walk across to Toblin and calls him to one side. They clearly have some conversation, and Wester turns and kind of marches imperiously out. You'll notice that one of the farmers will stand up and push the door open for him.
That might be
Go-
our
Go back to eating.
the night gone.
Toblin has a word with his wife, who continues on work at the bar, and then Toblin comes across, kind of wringing his hands.
We have to leave, don't we?
Sort of looks a little. You can see his shoulders are gone. He's like, "I can have your things brought round the back."
That's
Said
great.
Kind of gloominess.
What?
So
I'm
now
sorry,
So now
what?
we're sleeping rough.
You're not welcome here. I'm sorry. He sort of looks a little sheepish. Turns away. I'll have your things brought
What
round.
hold does this man have on you all when he does nothing?
He shakes his head and turns away, as if he couldn't possibly talk about it in front of everybody.
Maybe we could help you get our things just in our room or something.
He walks behind the bar.
Maybe Wester can come and ask us to leave himself.
I'm following him. I want to know what's going on.
Go around. He's
I
stood at the
dislike
bar.
bullies.
There's a general kind of, there's a vague support for your motion of we hate bullies from the farmers and the townsfolk that are inside the pub, but nothing vocal enough to be considered true support.
I am gonna fucking work the room, right? I'm gonna take people into quiet corners, use all my bardic charm and persuasion, and I am not leaving this fucking building until I figure out what hold this fucking big, fucking fat peacock bully has on these people that makes them bend to his will.
I'm going behind the bar and asking Toblin.
Toblin will, to be honest,
I will use everything, charm, the works. I will use every weapon in my arsenal because he has just become my nemesis.
I have no
I
charm.
understand.
I'll watch fascinated as this social thing erupts and just unfolds before me. What a moment ago was just
social
a beer and a
apocalypse
pie,
erupts.
and me a little bit worried about why the sword changed. Suddenly, we're at war with the town.
I'll
So just the first
Again.
thing. So Meds, in terms of your charm and stuff, you can absolutely work on them individually, and it'll take you a little while. But if you actively use charm, right? So you kind of get someone to befriend
If
you.
I'm getting nowhere with just the persuasion, I'm going to try and eke it out of him. But if it's going to take a little bit of, it's going to take a little bit of magic.
Yeah. So that it won't take much more than that. They're reticent to say otherwise, but they have had assurances from Wester that there's a militia being formed that is under his control, which he is sent for from further down the Sword Coast, which is due to arrive any day now. And in fact, the story goes that he had the Red Brand on their heels anyway, and that actually all you guys did was just finish off the last little kind of the last little knot of resistance. But there's no way you could have done it without Wester's support, and actually the will of the Red Brand was really broken by Wester and knowledge that his militia was coming. That's why they were so easily defeated. That's the story.
I am
And from
going
your
to destroy him.
from your perspective, Wester has charmed them. There's some kind of, you know what I mean? He's done his work, his persuasion work on them, and he's clearly taken a slightly more direct route with it. So you get the impression he's given them the view that when the militia comes, things are gonna be straight and narrow. And to be honest, Brawny, you get a very similar story from Toblin. He couldn't possibly kind of disagree with Wester too much on the basis this brand new militia is going to come into town. And by the sound of the conversation he's just had with Wester, if he doesn't stay true to the line, then he could find his inn goes out of business very quickly. Because strangely enough, the Sleeping Giant tap house is now completely open, and Wester's quite happy to put somebody in there and give them reduced rates, even provide them with full custom from the militia. So Toblin's got to kind of follow the party line. So
My
even
God,
though he hates
people.
to say it, just the way.
My God, people, I will say out loud in the inn, you are swapping one outlaw captain for another. Are you actually going to believe these complete and utter untruths? Give him a militia behind him, and he's just going to be a worse brand of outlaw than the Red Brands were. He's already threatening to put you out of business if you don't toe his line.
most folks will look away from her. We definitely need a militia, one of them will say.
Yeah, but you don't want him leading it.
The Red Brand problem has showed us we need a militia here in town. There's too many problems, too many worries for the orcs to the east, undead to the northeast, undead to the northwest. Trouble seems to be at our throats. Got to do something about it. And Wester and his militia sound safe for our families. If those problems weren't there, then maybe it would be less of an issue. But we've all heard stories of the orcs in the east. They're cannibals. Cannibals, don't you know?
That means they eat orcs.
God in fucking
Cannibals means they eat flesh.
fucking
The flesh of men and beasts.
We will investigate the undead.
Will you?
We will.
Really? Are you the cure for all our ills?
I didn't say that.
Wester said you were mercenaries. You were paid for your help with bags of silver. Sorry, I'm trying to keep a straight face, but
I will
you're
step forward.
mercenaries and you're paid for with bags of silver.
I'm so glad I'm outside.
I will step
and Wester
forward.
paid us, did he?
Yeah, I will step
We should
forward
go
and
collect our
stare
money.
him down.
Wester didn't pay you, but
Yep.
Is that what he said?
no, Wester didn't pay you, but you were given money by Lenen, and one of his people must have seen her hand over that bag of silver to you guys, and all of a sudden he's gone, look, see, they're mercenaries. They're just, they didn't do this for any good reason other than to fill their pockets full of your silver. I wouldn't do that, would I? Oh no, I'm the town master.
I've already got your silver.
I've already got silver.
Lol.
Thank you very much. Ching ching ching.
Yeah, all legal and above board, like ching ching.
I
I'll say I will
think
step.
this is
The
not
guy who's saying that, I will
Make
step
sense.
over and I'll stare him down, and I will say,
I'm a paladin. I am not a mercenary.
He'll go, he'll look up, you're kind of a foot taller than him. Sure you are. Sure you are. Oh, I didn't mean any disrespect by it. Not to you or the rest of you. We were toasting you as heroes. He says sort of slightly meekly, I'm sorry, sir. And with that, he'll kind of tug at his forelock and make his way out. Do you want to intimidate any other peasants while you're at it?
Yeah,
Can I do
evil.
it? Can I do
That's so
something?
evil.
Go for it. You do some thunder and lightning.
"Yeah, I could do lightning."
That taught them a lesson, didn't it?
No, I'll put my hand on Lumi's shoulder and say, brother, I think we're just frightening these people. They've been misled.
I think.
Continue to be misled.
Well,
We should
do you know what?
rectify this.
It's their choice. Let's move on. This is wasting time. Seriously, what are we even doing here still? We sorted out their issue. Let's move on.
Then to Sister Garail.
Right, that's an agreement, I'm guessing. So where are we moving on to next?
We have to finish what we agreed with Sister Garail.
Which
That is
was
our next step.
All we have
To
to do
pass.
is remember what happened 2 weeks ago, and then we can go over and speak to Sister Garail. What we're doing right now is we're buying time to remember what the Banshee told us, so we can go and speak to
it was
Sister
some kind of
Garail.
freakish puzzle wording, I bet as well.
Wasn't a freakish puzzle
Was
wording.
it not?
There was a
No.
library.
There was
There wasn't
really
a
a
fucking
deck.
library. You guys have
There was a
already...
necromancer, and you'd heard of her, and we all went,
Oh,
why do you
that's
know
right.
necromancers
There
so
we go.
well?
Yeah, and then we
So
Oh, yeah,
basically,
we talked about
Joe,
them.
we need you to tell us what we've forgotten.
Lol.
so
In your own time, go.
How ironic.
there
No
was
idea.
There was...
a powerful necromancy book that some
Mhm.
dude hundreds of years ago got hold of and his lineage became super powerful, and then we lost track of the book and we need to find the book.
You just made that up.
And one of his
Wow.
spells. You used one of the spells that he created.
Look, hold on a second. Just
That was right, wasn't it?
Put us
No,
out of our
well,
misery, please.
just
Put
to
us out of our
jog your-
misery.
to jog your
Yes.
memory.
You missed your
You
library.
asked
Jack.
Agatha. You asked Agatha about Bo Gentle's spell book, right?
Oh,
So,
Jen,
you
how
want
could we
to
have forgotten
find-
that name?
Bo Gentle's spell book. And
She
She
60s
was-
crooner.
Yeah.
she was good enough to tell you that actually she traded the book to a necromancer called Cernoth from the city of Iriabor more than 100 years ago. That was, and she had no idea where it had gone from that point, but perhaps that information will allow you to start the trail of investigation once again.
Just like I said.
That's absolutely nothing like what you said, but you are welcome to recant that to Sister Garail at her Shrine of Luck, the Shrine to Timora. She's just around the corner.
I bet you there's a library in there somewhere.
There is no library.
There is
You just keep thinking of the book. Okay, so you're going to go see Sister Garail, or are you going to just whip up the folks into a frenzy and kill Wester and take over the Tennis Elves?
Become dictators.
Got our own town now.
I'm on board with that.
Go.
Hey, Kathy.
Hello, Kathy.
Hey, Kathy.
Gonna
Hey,
be
Kathy,
weird.
how you doing? Woo!
Stop
So-
licking my stuff. What are you doing?
She just took a bottle of Jack and was like,
Hey.
"You've gone."
Later.
So yeah, we'll go see that person, Sister Dude.
Sister Garail.
Sister
Sister
Garail.
Dude.
Oh my god.
and then
Dory with this. The
oh my
goldfish.
goodness.
The goldfish necromancer.
Mine.
And then we'll
Mine.
move on to the mine.
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Law.
Solve the mystery of the logo thing.
The lost
Find out what
mines-
logo
it's
thing.
The
for.
lost mines of Bo Diddley.
Hidden in the library.
Track down the necromancy book. Get super
So
powerful.
returning us
Kill
to
the rest of the team by
unreal world of Dungeons and Dragons and not absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you going to head over to see Sister Garail?
Yeah.
Yes.
So everybody comes piling out the
They've just got a place to keep.
We need, I guess
does
we're
that
taking all our stuff, are we, with us?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a awkward. Hi.
We didn't have that much anyway.
We've got all our. We did have a chest of
We have a
gold
chest
and
full of,
silver and
yeah.
jewels and
Yeah. Yeah, we
Copper.
did.
I was going to say you've got a fairly reasonable chest full of loot, which you can easily use.
I've got glass staff.
No worries. Yeah, you have.
Hourglass staff.
So you head
So-
across.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So do they come out with all of their worldly goods then?
All of our worldly goods. Yeah.
I'll just look kind of puzzled. What? Why are you bringing all the stuff?
Because we have to leave. And maybe if we take it over to.
You did see the townmaster come out and sort of sneer at you as he walked back across to the.
Oh, you're not in there. Oh.
Well, I just figured that's his standard reaction, to be honest.
The
Yeah.
one time where I want you to just randomly snap somebody's neck.
Mm.
And you let me down.
Everybody.